I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well-deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, Bibi.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
Mr. President, are the tariff letters that you sent today final offers, or are they negotiable?
More or less final offer.
So South Korea, Japan should take it or leave it?
We're always subject to negotiate something that's fair, but we've talked to most of the countries, and pretty much they've had their way for many, many decades, as you know. And it was time that we just wanted fairness. This is not really equitable from our standpoint, because it's just a small token by comparison to the damage that's been done over the years. But we had no other president that was willing to do this. I did it in my first term with China and others. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs. No inflation, advantage of the country. So we're going to, I would say final, but if they call with a different offer and if I like it, we'll do it.
And the August 1 deadline, I mean, is the August 1 deadline firm now? Is that it?
I would say firm. No, I would say firm, but not 100% firm. If they call up and they say, would like to do something a different way, we're going to be open to that. But essentially, that's the way it is right now. Yeah.
Mr. President, is your Palestinian
with you at all if you're going to fight? And they were maybe at a nuclear stage. They're both, nuclear powers. And I think stopping that was very important. We're trying to help out with a Biden-created monster, this whole thing that's happening with Russia and Ukraine. It's a horrible thing, and I'm not happy with President Putin at all. But this is something that would have never happened if I were president. This was a war that was never going to happen. Go ahead, Brian. Mechanically, I mean, when you think in carrying the biggest bombs ever, the biggest bombs that we've ever dropped on anybody, when you think non-nuclear, and we want to keep it non-nuclear, by the way. But they did a phenomenal job. It was an amazing job, and I think that was, I was talking to Bibi about it before, that was the very beginning of the end. It ended very quickly after that. I don't want to say what it reminded me of, but if you go back a long time ago, it reminded people of a certain other event, and is Harry Truman's picture is now in the lobby, in a nice location in the lobby where it should have been, but that stopped a lot of fighting. And this stopped a lot of fighting. When that happened, it was a whole different ballgame.
On future, do you think that there can be a two-state solution that creates an independent?
I don't know. I'd ask Bibi that question. You have the greatest man in the world to answer that age-old question, two-state. Go ahead. You give him your honest answer.
I think Palestinians should have all the powers to govern themselves, but none of the powers to threaten us. And that means that certain powers, like overall security, will always remain in our hands. Now, that is a fact. And no one in Israel will agree to anything else, because we don't commit suicide. We want life, we cherish life for ourselves, for our neighbors. And I think we can work out a peace between us and the entire Middle East with President Trump's leadership. And by working together, I think we can establish a very, very broad peace that will include all our neighbors.
Tariffs. What happened to 90 trade deals in 90 days?
We've spoken to everybody. We know everything. It's all done. I told you, we'll make some deals, but for the most part, we're going to send a letter. We're going to say, welcome to the United States. If you'd like to participate in the greatest, most successful country ever. I mean, we're doing better than ever. We have, I don't think, and you're going to see these numbers soon. We've never had numbers like this. We've never had investment like this. We have more than 90. We're going to have much more than 90, but most of those are going to be sent a letter. This is exactly what I said. Now, we've made a deal with United Kingdom. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal. We're close to making a deal with India. Others we met with, and we don't think we're going to be able to make a deal, so we just send them a letter. If you want to play ball, you have to. This is what you have to pay. So as far as I'm concerned, we're done. We're sending out letters to various countries telling them how much tariffs they have to pay. Some will maybe adjust a little bit depending if they have a cause. We're not going to be unfair about it. And actually, it's a small fraction compared to what we should be getting. We could be asking for much more. But for the sake of relationships that we've had with a lot of really good countries, we're doing the way I do it. But we could be getting a lot more. We could ask for a lot more than what we're asking for.
You say you're done because you're sending the letters to follow up on Ed had asked earlier. You're counting these as deals by saying, here's the tariff rate we're going to charge.
I'm saying, here it is. Congratulations. Welcome to the United States. I hope you make a lot of money, and you're going to pay us money. They were ripping us. They were charging us tariffs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have some countries who are charging 200% tariffs and making it impossible to do business. And what the tariffs are doing is they're driving people in and companies into the United States. That's why we're building all of the work that you see happening in this country right now, and it's at a record level. All the factories, all of the AI institutions that are being built. It's largely because, well, I think it's because of November 5th, the good election, and I think it's because of the tariffs. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What's for
All right, troops. Trump versus Musk, the third party tango. It's Monday. Yes, the first full working Monday of July, July the 7th, 2025. Actually, and guess what's hotter than a midsummer heat wave? The epic drama between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It's like the real, how should we call it? The Real Housewives met Shark Tank, but with more egos and fewer teeth. Musk, in a moment of, we'll describe this as I'm too big for TikTok rage, dropped a political bombshell. The American Party. He wants to give us all freedom, which apparently means voting for another billionaire who moonlights as a guy you still don't trust to clean your toilet. He called out Trump's big, beautiful bill, tagged it as debt slavery, and suddenly his poll numbers down from 50% to a whopping 35%. Wow. They're tanking faster than Bitcoin post Elon tweets, or X's, or whatever it's called. But here's the kicker. Trump was like, Musk, ridiculous. He's off the rails. Oof, brutal. That cut detail on his tariff threats. And speaking of which, Trump's now threatening a 10% surcharge on anyone even thinking about BRICS. Global markets are reacting like teenagers forced to take piano lessons, and Tesla stock slid whoosh down 7% after Trump mocked Musk's political daydream. And let's drop a little knowledge. Last weekend, 5 million protesters hit the streets for No Kings. Now, this is why a nationwide pushback against Trump's authoritarian vibes. Check Wikipedia. Numbers are right. Meanwhile, his disaster declaration over Texas floods. What a mess. That's kind of more proof his second-term highlight reel is starting to look like a blooper reel. Cut, disaster. Trump's tone, off the rails. Musk, debt slavery. The rest of us, well, we're kind of here munching popcorn. But seriously, this billionaire's beef is what happens when two bored celebs decide stuff, they decide stuff and forget the voters exist and treat national policy like a WWE main event. It's not the answer, by the way. It's not. Musk forming a party, that's like hiring, I don't know, Dua Lipa to conduct the Fed. And Trump threatening deportation of a guy who literally made EVs fashionable. If aliens are really coming, they'll be like, probably get distracted by the free space race and leave.
When you have scenes like you did out in LA today, where you have the mayor, Karen Bass, interfering with official federal officer proceedings, trying to enforce the laws that are put on the books by members of duly elected members of Congress, are you all hesitant to just go out and arrest her, or has all of this behavior not reached that threshold yet?
We're certainly keeping everything on the table, Charlie, but I want to ask Karen Bass, who is she protecting? Is the MS-13 gang members we're going after? Is it the child rapists? Is it the drug traffickers? Which of the violent criminals who are terrorizing Los Angeles streets is she trying to protect? Because it certainly is not American citizens or her own constituents.
The reality is that there is a huge appetite for a third party. It's almost impossible to do. I've been involved in a bunch of efforts that have tried, but the American public, their hunger for a third party is growing and growing, especially among younger voters. More than half the country right now wishes there were a third option. They don't want Coke or Pepsi. They want 7-Up or Mountain Dew. So he's tapping into a reality out there. But the other reality is how hard it is to do. But you spend enough money, you can make an impact, and you can certainly be disruptive, and you can shake things up a little bit. And so the question is just how far is he willing to go? And there is another feature here, Stephanie, which is that if he goes to issues like free trade or the deficit, those are issues where a lot of establishment Republicans, people like myself who were attracted to the Republican Party on those issues, have nowhere else to go. The Democrats aren't they're not doing anything about those things. So if he approaches it on the right issue framework, there's a lot of potential out there. And he's talking to Andrew Yang, he's talking to Mark Cuban. So yeah, they could shake things up to some degree.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable to look at how that region is changing. And you saw earlier today, Benjamin Netanyahu at a dinner at the White House handed President Trump the letter that he wrote nominating him for a Nobel Peace Prize. Do you think
that's awesome.
Do you think we'll see the first felon get a Nobel Peace Prize, maybe?
Well, he certainly deserves it. But knowing how the left is and how the left seems to control so many of these institutions, I'm not holding my breath. But he certainly warrants it. He should get the Nobel Peace Prize. And God bless Prime Minister Netanyahu for that nomination.
Well, maybe they can take it away from Barack Obama and give it to President Trump. Chairman Jordan, thank you so much for joining us.
And I went to the Yankees at Mets game yesterday at Citi Field. Go Yanks. And you should see the people sitting for the national anthem for God Bless America. It's really just, I can't believe that we've come down to that. And I don't know, we don't go to the movie theater to be lectured to and to have somebody throw their ideology onto us. I wonder if it'll be successful.
You know what it says on his cape? MS-13.
Wow.
Is it superimposed or it actually says that? It is super. Just on the knuckles. One more thing is up next.
Is that we have a situation where the world cheats us. And we have 15 major countries that account for something like 95% of the trade deficit we run. And in our negotiations, what we're seeing is they're having so good, screwing the American people, I just got to tell it like it is, that they're reluctant to give up their advantage. So what the president, I'll come back tomorrow.
But you personally said
90 days and 90 days. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I am very happy with where we're at. We have had a global baseline tariff in place of 10%. We're collecting billions of dollars of tax revenues that are going to pay down for tax cuts. We've got continuing negotiations, and I think this is great. But I'll come back tomorrow and answer this question.
Not 90 deals in 90 days?
Because the rest of the world has it so good that they're dragging their heels. But the president will not allow that. That's why the letters went out. That's all I'll say. I'll come back tomorrow.
Seriously, that you guys are not going to push the August 1st deadline back even further, and that those tariffs will actually go into effect.
It doesn't matter in the sense that we're collecting billions of dollars on behalf of the American people, and the negotiations are going well. Anyway, I will come. Oh, the Fed chair. Okay, sure. What I'm suggesting is at the July 29-30 meeting of the Board of Governors, that if Jay Powell continues down this path of refusing to lower rates when the data says he should, that the rest of the Board of Governors should just simply vote to do what should be done, which is to lower rates. The last thing I should say...
Take it from me. Listen, this is one of the more devastating stories that I think we've had to cover as a mother of two daughters that are going to go to camp at some point. I cannot even imagine what that feels like. I've been reading the testimonials, especially about the fathers and grandfathers that are walking around that camp looking for a thermos with their kid's name on it or some sign that they were there. Maybe they find a body of another camper, maybe they find their own child or grandchild. Unimaginable. I'm so sorry for them, and I'm sorry for any hurt that any comments about this tragedy has caused these families. I don't think that talking about preparedness or what might have helped qualifies as impugning the memory of those that have been lost or detracting from the thoughtful conversation that needs to take place, because this river has been flooding for a very long time. There are a number of instances in this. And we were here around the table when Hurricane Helene struck, and I did not hear Jesse Waters, who I'm thrilled is back around the table, saying that Donald Trump should stop spreading lies about the Biden administration and the FEMA funds. Trump came out and he said, they're giving your FEMA dollars to illegals. They're housing them with your FEMA dollars. Then he said, you're only going to get $750 from FEMA, which was a complete lie. And there are Republican officials who have testified to the fact that people did not get their FEMA assistance because of what Trump and other Republicans were saying. You also don't need to trust or go to Democrats to politicize it. You can look at this GOP state rep, Wes Verdell, who said that he would have voted differently on a bill that was before the House last year. I think it was House Bill number 13, that was going to add more money for disaster response and better alert systems, radio towers, et cetera. There are over $54 billion in identified needs in terms of disaster resistance when it comes to these kinds of flash floods that state officials are asking for, and the GOP legislature has rejected them. That is something that they can work on to move forward and hopefully avoid a tragedy like this again.
And Kellyanne, I think one thing that we always are constantly reminded of, especially even with Hurricane Helene, is that state and local governments are the ones that are on the front lines of defense, and the federal government can help, but they're not necessarily the ones to blame.
That's right. They're on the first level of defense, but they're also the ones who tend to issue the warnings and then go out to rescue and recover. I mean, the left is very culpable in this one, Jessica, respectfully. They have this playbook now. Number one, blame Trump. Number two, lie in the service of blaming Trump. Refer to number one. And number three, give us your thoughts, never even your prayers. Why aren't they out there helping with rescue and recovery? Why aren't they looking for the thermoses? Why aren't they crediting and lifting up this hero who saved the lives of 168? Why isn't he a household name? Trump, 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 and everything. And it turns out all of it's just a lie. Dana Bash, George Stephanopoulos, Al Sharpton, and other Democrats in the media, and other Democrats everywhere. Lying, climate change. People are talking about climate change from the comfy cockpits of their fossil fuel guzzling private aircraft, telling the rest of us what just went wrong, who's to blame, while people are still looking for loved ones. We didn't have this when I was growing up. Everybody got together. I think the modern Democratic Party, it's hysteria over compassion. It is Trump derangement syndrome, definitely, and it's confrontation over collaboration, and they let that go here. Last point, Trump's the one. He got in late September, early October, he went down to North Carolina after that tragedy. He and Melania went out to the fires right after he was sworn in. He goes where the crisis and the pain exist, and he tries to go when they won't be in the way of rescue and recovery. He goes to share people's pain and try to add some compassion, some federal resources.
But frankly, the National Weather Service under President Trump has been working to put in new technology and a new system because it's been neglected for years. It's an ancient system that needed to be upgraded. And so President Trump recognized that right away and got to work on it when he came into office in January. But that installation is not complete and that technology isn't fully installed, but the alerts went out. We can continue to learn from every single situation, but know that during these times when we are trying to help people heal from situations like this, the best thing to do is to look and see how we can help and how we can walk alongside people and get them some relief. Make sure that we're doing all that we can to be more proactive in the future, but get through this terrible time right now as well.
Sure, but it was